This is the first panel of the day. I'm most excited for this one as it's a very interesting topic on how do we get meaningful engagement and retention through data analytics and insights. So to discuss with me today, I would like to invite on stage Pak Rizki Suluh Adi, Chief Marketing Officer at GoPlay. Mas Fajar Budiprasetyo, co-founder and CTO at HappyFresh. Dr. Sam Li, Chief Data Officer at KUPU ID. And Pak Faisal, Heswara, Director of Technology at Valbury Asia Group. All right, thank you all for being here today. Let's get started. Okay, so as you can see, today we're going to be discussing about, how do we use data and analytics for meaningful engagement, right? So I have a question to everyone. Maybe we can just start with you, Sam. So how can businesses use data analytics to proactively anticipate customer needs?
Yeah, so I would like to thank the host for inviting me here first today, especially more engaged. So I'm Sam, the Chief Data Officer of KUPU. Just to give a bit of context, KUPU is a technology-driven recruitment company who aims to serve job seekers and providers in Indonesia. So you have the context right now. So what I'm about to say is that we are focusing on actually mainly data collection and behavior analysis. So I know the previous speaker has talked a lot about all this, but for us is that why are we focused on both of this? Is because we want to get reliable data. Secondly is that we want to have meaningful insights. So we actually use these two processes through our product. Especially we want to know the different stages of the customer touch point and to identify the relevant customer needs. And by doing that, we can actually engage the customers more intelligently, and we can actually provide them tailored services and solutions. So within our company itself, the reason why we do that, we want to provide the KUPU experiences for us. Yeah.
Thank you. Mas Fajar, what do you think about what Sam just said? Gak apa-apa kalau mau di bahasa Indonesia campur, it's okay.
Mungkin perkenalan dulu, nama saya Fajar, co-founder dan CTO HappyFresh. HappyFresh salah satu online grocery di Indonesia. Mungkin saya cerita bagaimana kita pakai data analytics kali ya. Kalau di kita itu tujuan kita kan untuk mempermudah user kita untuk bisa belanja kebutuhan mingguan mereka. Nah, kita pakai data analytics untuk membantu mereka mencari produk yang mereka cari dengan product recommendation. Kita juga memakai data analytics buat membantu bagaimana kita bisa komunikasi dengan konsumer kita. Kayak contohnya, konsumer kita itu tidak setiap konsumer tuh beda kapan sih mereka merespon, kapan kita komunikasi dengan mereka. Jadi kita bikin suatu segmentasi, beberapa segmentasi terhadap konsumer-konsumer kita berdasarkan dari kapan dan channel apa mereka merespon komunikasi kita. Nah, dari situ akhirnya kita bisa mendapatkan komunikasi yang lebih efektif terhadap customer. Dan personalisasi juga sesuatu yang sangat membantu di online grocery kan. Kayak contohnya di kita itu personalisasi dipakai di banyak hal. Salah satu contoh yang kita pakai yang sangat membantu apalagi buat saya, kayak contohnya kalau orang belanja itu dia selalu mencari di produknya di search bar, dan dari search bar itu orang yang cari pisang mungkin beda-beda pisang yang dia maksud. Jadi ada beberapa personalisasi yang menghasilkan, misalnya saya cari pisang mungkin berbeda dengan Mas Rizki cari pisang. Nah ini yang akhirnya bisa membantu konsumer kita atau user kita mendapatkan belanjaan mingguan mereka secara cepat.
Jadi biar bisa relevant.
Exactly.
More relevant. Okay, got it. Pak Rizky.
Okay, thank you. So a bit of introduction first. Nama saya Rizki, saya dari GoPlay. GoPlay itu adalah entertainment platform, live streaming platform dari Gojek. Jadi yang a little bit of context adalah GoPlay started as OTT. So it's like a entertainment subscription service. Habis itu kita pivot ke live streaming marketplace model. So we have both the user generated content and the premium content. Jadi kita very heavy reliant on data because we have thousands of content creators streaming on GoPlay, and we also have like a lots of viewers. And I think the way we use data is actually similar to Pak Fajar, and there's an element of human interaction that it's not just like choosing the item you want to buy, which SKU you want to buy, but also choosing which person you want to follow, right? Which content are relevant to me, not just like if this person handsome or not, but if this person can sing my favorite song or not. Like, can you sing Baby Shark in the tone of wedding ringtone for Dead Star, for example, something like that. So we use data heavily, and one of the challenge, sorry if I jump the gun here, is that we already have like so many data before when we were in our OTT phase. So we have to migrate and transition those into the live streaming marketplace model. And I think it really helps with the segmentation and everything. And when we do the transition, like last year, help with Divya as well, we managed to laser focus and creating a most relevant and engaging communication to our users and to our creators. So I think it helps the transition to goes very smoothly.
Good to know, Pak. It's interesting that, I mean, we're all here talking about data and we have everyone from different industries here, but how it actually somehow connects, right? But Faisal, what about you?
Okay, thank you. Hi everyone. So, quick one. My name is Faisal and I work at Valbury Asia Group. High level tentang Valbury, kami adalah financial services yang fokus di forex trading. So anything related to trading ecosystem, we provide those kind of services. Bagaimana kami menggunakan data analytics untuk interaksi dengan customer. So two answer. First is the internal usage, and second is external usage. What I mean for the internal usage is we use a lot data analytics to capture everything tentang customer itu sendiri. Gunanya apa? Kami Valbury itu benar-benar huge organization in terms of sales seperti financial services lainnya gitu ya, kayak banking. Nah kami juga memang reaching out, ada offline sales and online sales juga telesales. Nah di sini kami benar-benar memanfaatkan data analytics untuk mengupgrade atau mengoptimasi sales pipeline yang memang kompleks. As you guys know, sales pipeline nggak pernah easy, dari capturing leads, habis itu ngeproses follow up sampai akhirnya mereka jadi customer di kami. Nah proses-proses itu kami benar-benar perhatikan, kami benar-benar membuat customer segmentation yang benar-benar detail. We love detail, benar-benar detail. Akhirnya kami resultnya, outputnya adalah kami punya beberapa layer of types customer. Di situ kami fit lagi untuk mensupport sales. Akhirnya kami berhasil memotong beberapa fase di mana yang sebelumnya tadi dilakukan secara manual di sales pipeline, itu kami otomatisasi. Sehingga benefit yang kami dapatkan adalah our internal operation sangat efisien karena most of the analysis itu coming dari automation. Di situ data analytics sangat berperan di Valbury. Dan untuk eksternal adalah dari data yang dimanfaatkan teman-teman sales untuk reach out ke customer, mereka benar-benar bisa menawarkan product offering yang sangat relevan dengan tipe customer seperti ini, produk seperti apa yang atau investasi apa yang akan ditawarkan oleh teman-teman sales. At the end, data analytics yang kami pakai adalah untuk to satisfy our customer needs. Itu yang kami benar-benar fokus menggunakan analytics di Valbury.
Interesting. Thank you for that. I think my next question is specifically for Mas Fajar. Yeah. So Mas Fajar, I mean, you have been, you have founded a couple of companies as well yourself, and you've been in the process of implementing or overseeing all the tools, and you're overseeing the implementations and all of that. So, according to you, what is the biggest challenge that you have seen when it comes to using data analytics for, say, customer engagement?
Ada beberapa challenge yang menurut pengalaman saya yang saya rasakan. Salah satu yang pain point atau challenge yang cukup kuat adalah data quality dan integration. Jadi kan seperti yang tadi Rizki bilang, terus juga Faisal bilang, data source itu ada dari mana-mana kan. Kayak contohnya kalau di HappyFresh ada attribution data, ada clickstream data, kita ada CRM data, kita juga pakai data dari customer support atau customer experience, dan ada juga transactional data. Nah, data-data semua ini kita mau jadikan satu untuk bisa memberikan one single view atau one single customer view, point of view lah. Nah, karena data-data ini datang dari berbagai sources dan juga data formatnya berbeda, data quality-nya pun ada yang kadang-kadang ada missing di sini, ada missing di sana. Nah, ini adalah salah satu challenge yang cukup besar. Nah, tapi dengan majunya teknologi, dengan perubahannya teknologi, yang saya suka sekarang itu banyak atau tools-tools yang ada sekarang ini memudahkan kita untuk ngomong satu sama lain. Jadi the way that the tools have now, it's making things easier to communicate between platforms lah ya. Nah, ini helps a lot di pain point tadi. Nah, selain itu juga ada, apalagi sekarang di mana cost itu jadi fokusnya most of the companies, especially startup kayak HappyFresh. Jadi kadang-kadang managing cost itu juga it's a big challenge. Gimana caranya kita dengan scale volume data yang ada sekarang, dengan tools yang kita mau pakai ini, kita bisa nge-manage cost-nya dengan efisien. Jadi dua hal itu yang menurut saya challenge yang cukup besar di kita. Nah, on top of that, karena di Indonesia lah ya kan tim HappyFresh semuanya di Jakarta. Nah, kadang-kadang kita juga ngelihat adanya skill gaps antara demand kita yang apa kita maui dengan talent yang ada di market. Orang Indonesia, orang Jakarta, talent Jakarta pinter-pinter, tapi experience atau industri experience tentang data analytics, gimana kita ngelihat data dan ngambil insight dari sebuah data tersebut itu masih
work in progress.
Ya, working in progress ya kan. Jadi gimana caranya ya of course mau engage juga untuk ngebantu talent-talent yang ada di Jakarta atau di Indonesia ini untuk nge-expose kita semua terhadap data analytics. Itu yang lumayan challenging sih, 3 hal tersebut. Thank you.
Okay. Interesting. I guess so. What's important is secara quality of the data also, and of course how much it's going to cost to obtain that kind of data, right? Interesting. And I mean, now that we're talking about data, right? So, Sam, I have a question for you. So, I mean, they say data is good, insights are better, and okay, if data is king, then, but the question is, again, similar to what Mas Fajar said, right? How do we make sure we're using the data correctly, right? How are we making sure that we're using it correctly, and how do you do it at KUPU, right? How do you make sure that you're using the data correctly to get better insights?
So as the previous panelist has already mentioned the pain points and the touch points, we KUPU also have the same, I would say, mindset. So we currently focus on two key kinds of analytics. One, we call it the descriptive analytics, where we want to know the historical data trends. Second would be the diagnostic analytics, where we want to know why certain event actually happens within our platform. So those are things that we want to find out. And by getting these two, by trying to get these two, I would say, analytics, we actually collect a lot of data from different data sources. Especially one key sources that we have is definitely from More Engaged themselves. And we actually use this, so initially when we took this data in, fortunately we managed to get some insights or indicators on how to drive our business forward. So after understanding the value of these insights, we actually created our own platform, our systems, to build onto the data itself and create more meaningful insights for our future business objective. So for that to happen, we actually do a lot of feature engineering to actually enhance our analytical tools. So today I'm quite lucky. Fortunately, my digital marketing team is actually in the audience as well. So I'm going to use them as an example. So they actually use these analytical tools to observe and actually strategize their daily work on how do they actually acquire new users for KUPU ourselves. So there are three key things that they look at. I would say there are other examples as well. But first is user acquisition. So where and how do we actually get these users? Second is user registrations. So why do even people register on our platform itself? And also we want to know why not. Third is that the user activity. So what makes them stay actually engaged within our platform? And those are a few features or parameters that we look at to evaluate our marketing performance. And of course, we do have other marketing performance matrices like cost per install, or we have our own self-created matrices for us to look at. So by gaining these insights, we want to actually simplify the hiring process within our platform itself. So by reducing the time and effort needed for the business partners and the talents that is within the job pool.
Okay, interesting. So kudos to the team here. Right. It's an interesting approach that you have, and I see the similarities as well, right? So speaking of that, Rizki, you have built you've built kind of the hottest startups in today's day and age with GoPlay, right? So I know that while no analytics tool in particular is absolutely perfect, and we all want to eliminate some kind of weaknesses in the system. So what are some important insights and processes you did not act upon earlier and that you wish you did?
Thanks, Divya. That's actually a pretty good question. So what would I say to my younger self and teach
regrets?
About analytics, right? So I think kind of like on the earlier stage of my career, I don't know, maybe somebody else as well, is that we are always overwhelmed with data, right? And there's always a challenge of like what Mas Fajar said, data integrity, data source, and I think the most important thing is, of course, are they actionable data, right? Because if the data is not actionable, then of course it's a little bit of useless. But right now, I learn more that there's actually something more than that, and because we have so many signals right now coming to us for the users, for the platform, etc. So we have signals from the apps, we have signals from the device, we have signals from the networks, user behaviors, and how do we interpret that kind of signals into something that's actionable. And I think what I also would like to highlight what Mas Fajar said is that Indonesia, we're not lacking of a lot of good people, but we just probably, so for example, like my team are here from GoPlay. We have like a lot of what we used to call fresh meats, right? So one of the things that's been really helpful is that getting the right mentor, getting the right coaching, and hey, I have like this kind of goals. I know my goals. We set up like a clear goals. I have this kind of set of data, and how do we convert this data into some kind of actionable item? And I think kind of like one of the most benefit things like working with Divya is also that you also provide some kind of consulting, like how to do this, like use case. We have a use case from other companies, blah, blah, blah. This is how you do this, is this applicable to you? And I think that actually make a lot of sense, speed things up. We don't have to scour to a lot of data. And I think from my experience, I can say that we are migrating data from the old GoPlay, like where we have like a customers who like subscribe to watch Gossip Girls Indonesia, into somebody who watch like live music or variety music or even like a girl band audition. So we are able to transition into that because we have like a lot of reference. And I think that helps speed things up.
Okay. Yeah, you have a lot to analyze, right? I mean, one person could be watching, I don't know, some drakor and then one day and then watch the news the next day, right? So it must be a lot of data that you have to manage. But okay, thank you for that, Rizki. So Faisal, now that I've asked everybody a question, I wanted to ask you, right? So I mean, you have been in this industry for a while now, and you know, I wanted to ask you, like, if you, what according to you are some of the future trends that will revolutionize, you know, using data analytics to increase customer engagement and retention?
Okay, thank you. Maybe I will tell a bit a background that we experiencing, and we are significantly increase our customer verification use cases in here. So I believe that the next, something that we do right now is previously we don't have. We automate the customer verification process because us is more on financial technology services. It is totally a painful process where if we are not able to verify our customer. And the data analytics or the future trends of the AI itself is based on our current usage. I believe it will be the upgrade of the customer verification, especially more on the company doing the digital transformation. They need to verify their customer. They need to know exactly who is their customer. That's the initial steps that we did, and we are successfully increased our engagement to the customer. What we do is we develop the eKYC and biometrics. We verify the customer in real time, so we can do the auto approval without our customer support team verify the customer manually. We eliminate those steps. Now we are be more efficient in terms of verifying our customer. I believe the painful still there. The technology is still growing. The customer verification, maybe the next trend is there will be like a video verification for the customer itself. I see that it is it's already ongoing right now. Some of the startup already built the customer verification based on video. They need to speak. They need to do the face recognition. those kind of things, I believe it will be a trend, especially in the financial services. Second is the trends of the product recommendation. Yes, there are a lot of product recommendation engine out there, but how to utilize the services? How do you know that if we give this kind of recommendation, it will match to their requirement? It's a lot of journey, it's a lot of painful process that we need to define data by data, different point of view, different function, giving a feedback. A lot of process need to be built. So two things I believe the future trend that every company need to think, to consider, or to consume is how to verify their customer in efficient way. With the verified customer, you know exactly who is your customer, who is your user. You can profile the demographic, their behavior, and so on. Second is to give the recommendation, relevance product recommendation after you know your customer. So I think that will be the future trends of the data analytics in terms of AI or machine learning.
And how would you define the accuracy and the relevancy of customer data?
In our case, we combine the cross-functional works. Let's say we have sales that regularly use CRM, and also there is a CX team, customer support. They regularly maintain the customer interaction with the customer day to day, and also the platform. For the platform itself, we all of us also doing that right now, like seeing who is your customer from the report itself. So what we did is we adding one formula is to merge, to combine the data from these multiple sources. And also sometimes we do the data cleansing. So that's how we maintain our data.
Okay, interesting. Master, what do you think? How do you also define your accuracy and reliability of data the same way?
Yes, absolutely. So, reflecting back, right, and this is kind of like a real use case, yeah. So, there is something that we call, for example, PN nasional or post notifikasi nasional, but it means like we blast all the message to all the users, right? Because we think that, oh, more numbers, more response, etc., blah blah blah, something like that, right? But we try to do the segmentation. We try to provide the relevant data, correlating data. So we actually find an increase of retention because we are matching viewers to our creators, and not just that, we are actually trying to help our creator by converting those viewers into spenders. So the danger of like doing the PN nasional is that like, why am I keep getting this message not relevant to me? I'm gonna uninstall, right? So it drives people away, it converts people into churn, right? But when people are like, for me, for example, I'm getting like a relevant topics about something, then, there's a higher chance that I might click it or engage, and then maybe convert from viewers into spenders, something like that. So it definitely makes sense, yeah.
So that's how you make sure that, okay, this is reliable, or like, okay,
Correct.
like this
Yep.
this is correct.
Yep.
Okay. Mas Fajar, what about you?
I think different industry have a different way of verifying their user, right?
Yes.
For us, since we fall into the e-commerce side of things, there is no way that we can do KYC, right? People will jump and...
No patience.
Yeah. So we do a lot of things that these guys already mentioned, but we add into, we tie in the user to their payment, right? And then try to understand if this user is one user or two users, or one user acting as many users, because in our business, when we do promotion, when we do campaign, usually based on first-time customer, right? And a lot of people sign up as a first-time customer.
Yeah.
So this kind of make the data a bit skewed towards whatever it is, right? But I think what what I think is also interesting, once we get the data cleansed, once we get everything nice and dandy, is how we interpret the data, right? I think that's the most important part. I think for us, one of the things that we learn is that as a, for example, data analyst or someone who try to understand data, we have to understand, we have to acknowledge that there is bias in ourselves when we try to look at data. Sometimes, let's say we want to answer a particular question, but as soon as we have some but we have some conception beforehand, then the data will always have the answer that we have in our head, right?
Yeah.
So when you slice and dice data long enough, then you will have the answer that you already have in your head. So having someone else to look at your data to try to brainstorm together, I think
validate it.
Validate, right? Because if you have already A in your head, then by looking at the same data, you will have A, but the other guy might have B, right?
Yeah. It's like a different perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's why for us to minimize bias, we do experimentation, A/B test. So A/B test is the way that we know that we can be sure of hypothesis that we can answer, right? Other than that, I think it's just the way that we look at data.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, thank you for creating this app also, because I can sit at home and do my groceries, right? I don't have to go out anywhere, so yeah. So Sam, what about you?
Yeah, so as what Fajar has actually said earlier, so those are the things that we look at, but I think he also mentioned that different industries have different, I would say, key points or concerns. So because KUPU itself is a recruitment company, right? So for us, the very important thing is trust. So trust itself is very hard to build, especially for strangers, right? So for us, we understand that, and the first thing that we did was we created a dedicated team to do a lot of data validation. So to validate the data and to validate the identities of these job talents we have, or the business that we are looking at. So those are the things that are key to us, and we do regular data audits. It's to go one step further, we even train non-technical people to even look at data and to actually understand them and tell us, is there something weird that you find from all this? So just to build on the strategy itself, there are 3 key points that we built on for our policy of data security. So one is we want to always be transparent, and we always communicate with our clients or our customers or talents. Second is that we want to uphold the most stringent data protection and security of our customer data or user data. Last is that we definitely have a lot of, I would say, third-party vendors or services, and we have to work with them.
To help you with it also.
So we have to also implement responsible data sharing. And that means we have to make sure that ethically they are using the data in the right way and not invading the user's privacy. So by doing all this, we want to, of course, to respect the customer privacy. We want to gain the customer trust through all this privacy implementation. And lastly, we definitely want to uphold the most ethical data practices within the industry itself. And that is what we are doing for KUPU.
Interesting. Thank you so much. I think we're out of time. Mungkin dari audience, apakah anybody has questions for anybody? Oh, we have one question. Can we get him a mic, please?
Hello. Okay. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Maybe this, first of all, my name is Afif. I'm a product data analyst from MTix Cinema 21. If you guys know, an app to buy tickets for cinema in 21. This may be a question maybe specifically for Pak Rizki, Pak. In terms of, we have some kind of like similarity in terms of our entertainment company. I just want to ask about we can deny that there is some condition that there is a seasonality in our transaction, let's say in Ramadan period or something like that. In terms of data analytical things or maybe the strategical part, what's the use case and maybe how do you solve about the seasonal trend itself when it's go down? We already did some kind of like mini strategy to our user. We already collaborate in, let's say, using some kind of like more engaged in terms of strategic to personalize our customer. But we can deny about the seasonal trend itself. So, I just want to ask about the specific strategies in terms of to solve the downtrend about the seasonality, whether we already did some kind of like a lot of strategies, but the result is not, we cannot still maintain the transaction itself, but something like that. Maybe if you got my point about the question. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The goal is to transact ya Pak ya?
Yeah, to maintain our customer, even the seasonality is going down. Maybe some kind of like Ramadan period or something like end year period, something like that.
Enggak, maksudnya direct to transaction atau?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Okay. Because as mentioned, right? Right now we have like a lot of signals, So we have what usually in analytic we call like intents, purchase intents, or we just like we can see people who watch a review of a content. We see people who spend more time on this page other than compared to the other page, right? Tapi kalau soal seasonality ini memang a little bit tricky karena it's always so for example during Ramadan sales usually always go up. After that it's always goes down, right? And usually it takes a collaboration of like multiple departments. So not just the digital marketing or with the CRM, but also from the content planning. And also from the partnership, so like for example, hey, can you get us promotion on this blah 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 on this season, for example, because usually during on this season there's always a downturn. So for example, like for Ramadan, I think like 2 weeks before Ramadan, people usually do like a discount. After that, gradually the discount will, for example, goes down and then goes up again on the D-Day and until D+7. Because during the Lebaran, people like don't care about spending or don't like buying because they go out, they meet their families, etc. So they need some extra incentives to purchase. I think if we can find like some similar pattern or similar signals and find a way to incentivize the customer. So for example, like again, I'm still using the extreme example like Lebaran, right? I know it's Lebaran, but your favorite thing is coming up. Book now and redeem later or something like that. Here's a review, blah blah blah. So it prolongs the life or the open rate of the app and still prolong the engagement of the customers. So that's something that come up on top of my head. I'm sure we can discuss more on that, Pak. Happy to talk with you after this, yeah. And probably Mbak Divya also have like a lot of good examples.
Yes, we'll share with you, Pak, after this. Right. Thank you for your question. All right. I think we have one more question. We have 2 more questions. Okay. 3. Wow.
Hi. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for the discussion. My name is Dasha. I'm a monetization product manager. I have a question regarding the engagement and retention. Can you please, a question to all of you guys, it would be nice if someone can share. So can you share the recent example when you were matching the data and matching the numbers from different sources of information, and you found a really interesting insight that you applied in your business, something that you didn't expect, but you actually saw it in data. Thank you.
Anybody? Something that you didn't expect and you saw in data, am I correct?
Okay, maybe something you expect,
Okay.
but it was just really interesting for you, so it was really insightful.
Maybe I can share my experience. I think so. Our product team, they look at most of the time they look at product analytics data, right? And they see and they try to analyze what are people are buying, how many products they have in their cart, blah 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 blah, right? And again, to reiterate what we're trying to do is to simplify how people shop their weekly grocery, right? And they look at data and they see that many of the our repeat customer, they buy only, I don't know the exact number, but only few things, right? And then the way that we gave their the way that we present the product is similar to our first-time customer, our second-time customer, and so on and so forth, right? And there is a hypothesis that the product team came up with where what if we create a master list that different from user to user, right? And the goal is to speed up their grocery shopping, right? So that they can find 80% of they want when they open their app, right? Instead of trying to find all the things they want to find, similar like any other user. So again, the way that we develop feature or product release in HappyFresh, we always do A/B tests. Why? Because we believe that the only way for us as a product team to understand the impact that we have is through A/B test, right? So we release using an A/B test and see an increase in whatever hypothesis that we had, and then answer the question that we had in the beginning.
Thank you. Hope that answers. All right, I think we can have one last question. Mike, please. Yes.
Okay, hello, my name is Ipang from Rupa. I have a question. As that you guys mentioned before, you talked many times about the product recommendation and hyper-personalization, right, for the engagement for the customer. But I want to know about the effectiveness about the product recommendation and hyper-personalization for the non-daily basis platform like Rupa. That's there's not that often come to our platform. Is it effective for us to implement about the product recommendation and the hyper-personalization compared with the effort that we're doing? Because sometimes the data is interpret the different facts about the personalization itself. Thank you.
Anyone?
Yeah, so a bit of difference because we don't treat our talents as products because we are a recruitment company, right? But how do we say this is that we usually first instill human intelligence. So with the lack of data, you have to start from there, some level of rule base that you have to actually look from the industry itself. So that's the first step. Second step that we do is that we look at those information. That's why I was talking about descriptive analytics. We look at those information. What are the trends and why do it happen? And from there, we actually, until we gain the right amount of data, and I would say meaningful data, then we could do some level of product recommendations or recommendation engines that you are trying to build. So those are very important factors, especially in the ethical and I would say ethical and trust issues, because those are usually determined by humans in some ways. Usually the machine would not be able to tell you that, oh, this is breaking trust, that is breaking some ethical sense of the users. So those are things that we want to monitor very strictly. And from there, we then can decide from a human perspective, is this something that we can do? Or is this something that we want to move forward with? Aligning to, of course, to whatever our business objective that we have within our company.
All right, thank you so much. I think we can leave the questions for after, or they'll be around, so you can just ask them questions after. All right, thank you so much. I think now we'll move to the next panel. Thank you so much for joining us today.